Hello, it's Ken Miller, president of Stateway Logistics, bringing you the Hall of Fame podcast by One Truck America, the #1 online channel for transportation. All right, this episode is going to be a great one. We're going to talk about drivers. We're going to talk about driver shortages. We're going to talk about a driver looking for a new job. What are the things you should look out for? Important for you to know what the trucking company is not telling you. And also, on the flip side, I'm going to help you trucking companies. What are the drivers that you should stay away from? What is important to you? What are some watch-outs you should have when adding drivers to your fleet? Because the most important thing you do is to hire a driver. And as a driver, the most important thing you do is the job you choose. Let's not forget, you spend most of your day working. If you're not happy in your job, you're probably not happy in your personal life. Welcome to the Hall of Fame podcast. All right, let's get into this driver market. I think this is a very interesting topic. I think I touched on it a little bit in episode 1, but we've got a lot of requests for me to go deeper into this. So we decided to make episode 2 strictly about the driver market. Now, if you're in the trucking industry or you're even a driver, you're saying, well, there's really no problems finding a job, or I'm not having that much of an issue finding drivers. Not like it was pre-COVID, absolutely, because the economy is slowing and there are jobs definitely out there. I think as the economy recovers, which as you saw in episode 1, you will see some rebound of that need of drivers, which you did not see in 2023. So we definitely have a shortage. Now, as you compare any industry, let's say you work at a warehouse, or you work as a nurse, as you work as a doctor, a lawyer, or any professional, a plumber, a mason, whatever. Think about if the average age of that profession was 46 years old. I want to understand, what does that mean, 46 years old, okay? If you were in the military after high school, you would have been retired, okay? If you in most municipalities became a cop or a fireman, okay, and you went in at 18, you'd be 2 years away from retirement. If you had a degree, you went in at 22, okay, you would be 6 years from retirement. Think about what we're talking here. That is the average age of a truck driver, and it continues to grow. I remember my first driver presentation I gave, and I want to say it was at a conference in Chicago about the driver market. And I want to say the average age then, and this is about 2014, was 41, 42. And now it's 46. Continue to age because we don't have enough people enter the industry as we should. And again, this was covered a little bit in part 1, but remember in episode 1, you cannot become a truck driver today. In some states now, they've passed the laws that are driving this at 18. You have to wait till you're 21. And that you miss a lot of boat of a lot of people that would enter your industry at 18 that cannot. And now you have to try to attract them back into your industry using a lot of different tactics. Some of them are good. Some of them, I think, are actually bad. So the driver market is an issue, and it will continue to be an issue. Now, we will cover how autonomous vehicles will affect that on a later episode, so make sure you stay tuned. But as far as the driver market today, we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to look at it from, first, the driver's perspective, okay? Drivers, when looking for a job, there's a lot of great trucking jobs out there, and there are also some watch-outs. I think you need to look at your pay structure itself. Most companies now are paying you what's either a piece rate. Very few people are paying hourly anymore. So it's a piece rate based on mileage, loads, and so forth. And really, the questions you need to ask is, okay, what does the average driver run? How many miles, how many loads in a day? And then you can do the math of what an average driver would make at that site, at that location, at that trucking job. Some watch outs if the pay's not very good and they offer you a big bonus. Those things are hiding bigger issues. So the attempt is to get people in by paying. I've seen bonuses now go from anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000. I think I've even seen some higher. Bonuses, I don't mind bonuses. And I'm not saying don't take free money. Just make sure the bonus is not higher and a bigger problem, which may be what your average W-2 is. And I don't care about using anyone's average W-2. I care about saying, how am I paid? What is the mileage stops of each driver that runs there? And I will do the math and says, okay, I will make this much. Now, if I believe or you believe I'm way better than an average driver, then you take the average and you multiply it by however percentages you think you're better. You do the math, and that will give you what you will make. You're at a current driving fleet now. If they say your mileage is average to everyone else there, then you know you're average driver. They say you're in the top 5% at your current fleet. You can easily do the math to figure out how much more I'm going to make this week if the average is X. So compare those two more than looking at the bonus. I think that will help you not to go off into a path where you get a nice big fat check, maybe in 3 months, 4 months, but is your livable wage enough to cover all of your expenses? Okay. From the company side, and this is if you're a trucking company owner, I was always wary. I've hired drivers for every job you could think about. I have been in this industry since 1999. Okay, and I can tell you that the biggest thing that I have to watch out for are drivers that switch jobs constantly. And it's not like a regular managerial jobs where people don't switch. You can get a driver that's had 2 jobs in 5 years. That's okay. But when I have someone that's had 5 jobs in 2 years or 6 jobs in 2 years, it concerns me that there's something else going on there. No job is perfect. Every job is going to have issues. It's whether they are transparent, whether the issues are being dealt with in a timely basis, whether they're addressing the issues with the fleet, and they have solutions for the problems. Those are the things I'm looking for when you talk about a great driving job. But the grass is always greener, okay? So you have to be careful about what I call jumpers. Someone that has 6 jobs in 2 years as a company owner, I would probably pass on that on that driver. And also, you have to do due diligence and call and find out why they left. Drivers that leave trucks on the side of the road and just take an Uber home and things of that nature are not drivers you want. But a driver that comes back, return your equipment, says, hey, thank you, this is not for me, and go on his way, that's okay. I think drivers have choices, as they should. You don't have people lining up to do this job with an average age of 46. Drivers should have choices. In my personal opinion, I truly believe that a driver that's driving, that's sleeping in the truck, we're not talking about home every day. If he sleeps in the truck, whether it's 5 days a week and home on 2 days, or does the OTR field, should make over $100,000 a year. Now, you can't get there in 1 day. You're not going to get to that number in 1 day, but you have to start somewhere, and you have to continue to push that number, because it's very hard to have a driver that wants to actually live in a truck and not be home. And because I hear it constantly, when I started in the industry, we had regional jobs. Guys would be home either Friday, Saturday, Saturday, Sunday, or Sunday, Monday. We had no problem filling those jobs. Now, I think it is impossible, and it's going to be so much harder to fill those jobs versus a local job way home every night. And I believe the number one reason for that is social media. I think there's so much going on in social media. You're out of town, you see something going on at your kid's school that concerns you. Your wife posts things that concern you. It's hard for people to be away from their families in this technology age, because people, you know where your wife is, they're not there, they're out at dinner, your kids are doing this, whatever it is that would cause you concern or have you overthinking. Those things are tripled because of the social media and the tracking and all the things that happen on the new type of iPhones that we have. So I think those are some things that has made it harder in this job. It's made it harder for people to want to live in a truck. And also, we're dealing with a different generation. The generation that didn't mind living in trucks and driving everywhere were all of the Vietnam vets getting out of the military, didn't have a job. And a lot of them went into trucking. But guess what? Most of those guys are retired now. And you did not see that boom from Desert Storm. Those people did not come out, and go into trucking like they did from Vietnam. And I think some of that is failure on the trucking industry, because I don't think they create a clear path. And I think now, I live in Illinois. Illinois is creating a path for veterans to get directly into a trucks. I know some large truck companies are doing the same. Because if you have a guy that's driven large trucks in the military, he can drive a tractor trailer. And they should, and those are like, if you're in the Army, it's the 88 Mike. I don't know if they've changed their MOS, but that's your truck drivers. Marines, I'm sure, have their same. I'm sure Air Force has the same. And those guys should fairly easily transition into a truck driving job. And I think we need to create a path to actually do that. So I think those are some things that are just watch outs. So in summary, the driver market, the average age of a driver is 46 years old. That's a problem, okay? We did not have a huge pull from the military like we did in Vietnam after Desert Storm in 91. Drivers look for a new job. Be aware, do the math, find out what the drivers are running and do your own calculations. Don't take the average driver pay. There's a lot of things hidden in driver pay totals, including payouts of bonuses, which eventually run out. For instance, they could say you get a $10,000 bonus, and we got out of $500 to every check for the first however long, and that calculates out. Oh, that W-2 looks great. No, do the math, figure out what it is. For people hiring drivers, look out for the jumpers. The people that have had 6 jobs in 2 years, five jobs in 2 years, that are unexplainable. Call and do your due diligence, because I'd rather have a position open than hire a driver that's going to leave your truck on the side of the road. And in closing, we got to have a solution to the driver market itself. I think autonomous trucks is an answer, and we'll cover that later. I promise we're going to cover that. But we do need to attract more young talent into our industry if we are to survive until autonomous trucks is here. So, with that said, I want to thank you for joining the Hall of Fame by One Truck America.